Hello everyone, welcome back to a new video. So if I told you the reason people take advantage of you is not because you are weak. It's not because you are naive. It's not because you are stupid. It's because you have one trait that manipulators can recognize most instantly. And once they see it, they know exactly how to use it. If you constantly feel used, over explain yourself, or apologize when you did nothing wrong, attract emotionally draining people, this video might feel uncomfortable, but it might also change your life because it would develop an insight and tell you what patterns were wrong and in which patterns you have to work. Okay, so don't be very sad. It's all about awareness. Okay, and then when awareness is developed, when insight is developed, so it is easy to recognize those patterns, and you can work on self improvement. Okay, so now let's start, because if you're not even aware about few things, so you know then you have to suffer. But if you are aware about certain traits and things, that you can work on that and you can prevent yourself. Okay, so now let's start. The trait, the chronic self-doubt. The trait that makes you easy to manipulate is chronic self-doubt. Not kindness, not empathy, not being loved. It's the quiet belief underneath those traits. Maybe I am wrong. Okay? You know, there are times and when you would go to people and tell them this is happening, and people are not trusting you. They might say that how can we trust you, or those things. So then you would be like, okay, you will develop self-doubt, and you feel like, okay, maybe I am wrong. And even if we talk about narcissists, they would use this thing or this tool, as they would use you in a way that you would doubt your own self. So when someone questions you, you fold. When someone blames you, you examine yourself. When someone withdraws love, you panic. And at times, it's not your fault at all. It's the fault of another person. Okay? And manipulators don't need to overpower you, they only need to introduce uncertainty. Because when you doubt yourself, you have them control. Okay, you hand over them your control, and the control is with another person. So it's same as like remote control. They'll press a button and you will start doing whatever they want to do. Okay, because and over attachment too, when you are being so attached to someone, and they'll make you dependent. And when they know that you are totally dependent on them, then they can use you. Okay, now where the trait begins. Now, chronic self-doubt doesn't appear randomly. It often starts in childhood. If you grew up being told you were too sensitive, being blamed for others' emotions, and having your reality denied, and being punished for expressing needs, or even if someone's parents were not in a good relationship, or parents were separated, and you guys had a family where you couldn't you were not able to speak up openly, or you know uh, you couldn't express yourself, or even if you were saying something and they would snub you. So then this is the time where this all has started. Okay, um because the boundaries, or the boundary of care, I would say, that were needed at that time and that was absent, or the confidence that you needed at that time wasn't present there. So that is why there is a tendency that you would develop those things, okay? And then you need and learn something dangerous, and that my feelings might not be valid, okay? Because you have seen a lot of people, they would just turn their head towards that side that is more powerful, even if the other person is a manipulator, or you know he is having bad intentions or intentions, or is doing bad, but people would just trust him or her, okay? They won't trust you because you know you know being an honest person, you have to give a lot of uh guarantees or a lot of proofs to just prove yourself. But if the other person is not accepting that, then no, don't waste your words there, okay? Don't waste your words there. It's total wastage. So if that other person is understanding you, so only speak up there. Otherwise, just be quiet and just be confident within yourself, okay? So when children are gaslit, criticized, or emotionally neglected, they grow into adults who question their own perception. And when someone later says, "You are overreacting, you are imagining things, you are too much," it feels familiar, and familiarity feels safe even when it hurts. So, why manipulators detect you so fast? Manipulative personalities, especially those with narcissistic traits, they are hyper aware of vulnerability patterns. That is, people subtly, they might cancel plans last minute, make small jokes at your expense, and ignore your messages briefly, and shift blame in minor ways. And even if you are sitting in front of few people, and in a group of people, they start joking about, like, "Oh, look, he said this, she said this," or these things, so that hurts you, okay? And you are not doing anything, and when they see that this person is not reacting at all, so then they start taking advantage, okay? So if you apologize quickly, over explain, and try harder to please and accept the blame, they know you doubt yourself more than you trust yourself. And this is being opening, okay? You have seen a lot of people, those, it's their own fault, but they don't accept it, right? So if whatever they have done in life, they have done so many big things in their life that have ruined other person's life, but they are not at all accepting that. And they are those people who don't accept their own blames, and then they put the blames on the person, and they use the projection. So, and if you feel like, okay, this might be my fault, what if I couldn't do this thing, what if I couldn't do this thing, so you know this thing won't happen. But this is a personality trait in them, okay? So the manipulation cycle, if you're really well aware about these things, so you won't be trapped in that, okay? So here is how the cycle works. Manipulation is rarely loud. It's subtle, gradual, and psychological. And it doesn't begin with abuse, it begins with emotional connection. And that's why works. And let's break the cycle down step by step. Now, stage number one is idealization. That is emotional hook. In the beginning, they don't control you, they study you. They mirror your personality, they validate your pain, they complement your depth, and they make you feel uniquely understood. You feel seen, chosen, special. For someone with chronic self doubt, this feels intoxicating because when you secretly question your worth, intense validation feels like proof that you were enough, and this stage creates emotional dependency in your nervous system, links them with safety and approval. Now the hook is set, and then subtle boundary setting is stage number two. This is where manipulation actually begins. They introduce small discomforts, a joke that feels slightly insulting, ignoring your messages for a day, casting plans last minute, and blaming stress when they snap at you. No one is that busy that they can't message you. Okay, even if that is like if you ask, like, if I have sent you a text and you have replied me 5 minutes later or 1 hour later, where were you? No, no, no. Even after 5 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, they have texted you like, I'm busy, I'll talk to you later, or like this. And if even if they are giving you 5 minutes and this is quality time, that's enough. And they can text you. No one is that much busy. And even if, there are rare cases, even if someone is at hospital or that place, and definitely they can't message you. So don't use these things, okay? But it's never extreme. It's just enough to create confusion, and this is the key psychological moment. Instead of saying that I felt disrespectful, maybe you say, maybe I'm overreacting. And this is where chronic self doubt activates. And if you're watching your response, um, if you apologize, over explain, try harder, ignore your own discomfort, then now, no, you will regulate the relationship at your own expense. Then, stage number three is gaslighting and reality distortion. Once they know you doubt yourself, they escalate. And gaslighting doesn't always look dramatic. It sounds like, that's not what I said. You were too sensitive. You were imagining things. Why are you making this a big deal? And here's what happens psychologically: your brain begins prioritizing their version of reality over your own perception. You stop trusting your memory. You start rehearsing conversations before speaking. You begin thinking, maybe I am the problem. And once someone can distort your reality, they don't need force. You will correct yourself for them. And stage number four is intermittent reinforcement, the trauma bond. This is the most addictive part of the cycle. They alternate. Sorry, they alternate between warmth and withdrawal, love and coldness, and praise and criticism. After hurting you, they suddenly become kind again, and your nervous system relaxes, and you think, see, they don't care. uh, See, they do care, and but neurologically what happened is powerful. Even if they're one message, even if they have hurt you a lot, you would feel like, oh, no, 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 I just have to pay attention to that. Look, he cares for me and all, like, uh even if, like, you just ignore all of those painful moments that they have done to you. So unpredictable rewards create stronger attachment than consistent love, and the other person, they know that you are attached to the other person, and now they can do whatever they want to do. And that's the same principle that makes gambling addictive. And you don't stay because you are weak, you stay because your brain is wired to chase relief. And this creates a trauma bond, and you become attached to the person who is also hurting you. Now, stage number five is role reversal, and you become the problem. Now the cycle flips. When you bring up issues, they say you were always unhappy, nothing I do is enough, and you were exhausting. You begin defending yourself, you explain your feelings more gently, you minimize your needs, and you try to be easier, you shrink. And here is a dangerous shift, and you start working harder to keep someone who is actively destabilizing you. And that is the psychological trap. Now, stage number six is emotional exhaustion and dependency. And this point, you feel anxious more than secure. You feel overthink constantly. You are afraid to upset them, and you crave their reassurance. But the reassurance comes less often now, and that scarcity makes it more valuable. And you're no longer in a relationship. You are in a regulation loop. Your nervous system is trying to stabilize itself through a very person who dysregulates it. That's why leaving feels terrifying, not because you love them so deeply, but because your body has adapted to the choice. And why this cycle works on self doubting people is the entire cycle depends on one psychological vulnerability. You question yourself more than you question them. And a person with strong of trust interrupts the cycle with stage two. They say they didn't feel good and let's address it, but someone with chronic self doubt internalizes, rationalizes, and minimizes and adjusts themselves. And manipulation requires your participation, not consciously but psychologically. Now, the break point. The cycle breaks the moment you trust your discomfort, you stop over explaining, you tolerate someone being upset with you, and expect that clarity may not come from them. And manipulation cannot survive where self trust exists. Because once you believe your own perception, gaslighting fails. And once you tolerate disapproval, control feeds. And once you stop chasing approval, power shifts. So, uh, you know, there is an emotional cost. Living in chronic self doubt is exhausting. You replay conversations at night, you feel anxious after small conflicts, feel a fear of abandonment constantly, you over give to secure love, and eventually you don't even know what you feel anymore. And because you have trained yourself to prioritize everyone else's emotional reality over your own, this is where resentment builds. And not because you are selfish, but because you have been abandoning yourself. So the hidden trauma responses. Many people who struggle with this are actually operating from what trauma psychology calls the fawn response. Okay? Along fight and flight and freeze, fawn is the survival strategy of appeasing to stay safe. It sounds like if I keep them happy, I'll save. If I don't upset them, they won't leave. If I adjust myself, I'll be loved. And that's not weakness, that's adaptation. But what keeps you safe as a child is sabotaging your adult relationships. And the shift from self doubt to self trust is healing does not mean becoming cold, it means building self trust. Self trust sounds like I don't need to explain my boundary. Discomfort does not mean I'm wrong. Someone being upset doesn't mean I failed. I can survive someone leaving. You start noticing red flags earlier. You stop chasing clarity from people who enjoy confusion. You pause before apologizing. You allow silence instead of rushing to repair what you don't break. And slowly, manipulators lose interest because you are no longer easy to control. And then the goal is not to lose your empathy. It's to pair empathy with boundaries. So you can be kind without being available for exploitation. You can be understanding without absorbing blame. You can love deeply without abandoning yourself. And the trait that made you easy to manipulate was never your heart, it was your doubt in it. Okay? The moment you begin trusting your perception, your intuition, and your boundaries, everything changes. And believe me, there would be people who would say, "Oh, you have an old mindset and you are doing this thing," and which is bad. But in reality, when you would go to them and tell them this has happened with me, and this bad thing has happened with me, they would totally change. And they won't accept like they said this thing to you, and you would be amazed like why they are saying this thing to me. So you would basically question your own self. So always trust your own intuition, trust your own self, your own perception, your own boundaries. Okay, so give yourself importance rather than giving importance to the other people, whether it's your partner or anyone else around, whether it's your workplace or anywhere. Please don't trust other person. Okay, so everything changes because manipulation only works when you don't believe yourself. And today, you start believing yourself. Okay, that's a lesson of this video. So if you guys have liked this video, Please like it, comment me below, share it with your friends. If you guys haven't subscribed, just subscribe my channel. I just want a program for people. If you guys are interested, let me know in the comment section. I'll start it, and I hope you all would join that, and it will be online. As a consulting clinical psychologist, you are not alone. I'm always available for you for any sort of therapeutic sessions or anything. You guys connect with me anytime. We can have a therapeutic session or for any insight. I'm here for you. Don't feel alone. See you soon in the next video. Till then, take care. Goodbye.